and Gauranga, O Lord Krishna. So we shall do some certain prayers that we do, and then after that I will recite the verse in Sanskrit, but don't be scared. We've got English translation, and then we will just talk in English as well about that, yeah? So don't know how far you guys have traveled from, but we will talk in a little bit. We'll just do a little Radha Madhav. And if you don't want to listen, you can still concentrate on Krishna. And he's there, beautiful Shishi Radha Gokulananda ji. No one else compares his beauty. He's all attractive. So are we ready? Shall we? Yeah? Make most of our next half an hour here, next half an hour, 40 minutes. We all come and watch, and there's so many things happening outside this place, but today now is our time to talk about Krishna, learn about Krishna. What is Krishna saying to you? And what is the message he's trying to give us from that particular verse, yeah? So I shall start. Please feel free if you feel you need to leave or you need to stay. It's up to you. So not a problem. Okay, we'll just start off with, like this lady said. Mataji, what did you say your name was? Oh, Radharani? Rati Prada. Radharani Rati Prada. So what does that mean? Devidasi, of course, yeah. So what does that mean then? One who gives the love of Krishna. Oh, Jay, very nice. Okay, let's just do Radha Madhava, and then we can just do. I'm just very disturbed by the presence of these two devotees, because they are very senior and they know everything anyway about Krishna, and here they are listening to a novice and a newcomer like me. But anyway, because we're reading about Krishna, hope, there's hope for us, because it's Srila Prabhupada's books. Everybody learns something or the other. So. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Come on everyone, it's your chance. Please take this opportunity to chant the holy name. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjanam. Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjanam. Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjanam. Jamuna Tira Banchari. Jamuna Tira Banchari. Jamuna Tira Banchari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Come on everyone, let me hear you loud and clear. Let Radha Gokulananda hear you, please.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokul Nand, Radha Gokul Nand Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev. बोलो श्री श्री राधा गोकुलानंद भगवान जी की। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so verse Bhagavad Gita, chapter Attaining the Supreme, and the verse number 10, 8.10. If those of you who've got it on your phone, or if you got BVL or any of these apps which has Bhagavad Gita on it, please feel free to open that. So we'll try and recite it. So this is the Sanskrit, please bear with me. And I'll try and say one line, you see if you can follow. If you can follow, that'd be great. We're just trying to repeat Krishna's words here, right? Might not be perfect, but we'll try. Oh, yes, of course. Sorry, I mean, this is a nice technological world now. I didn't realize, of course, there's verse there. Thank you very much for pointing. I did say these learned people here, you know, devotees. So, yeah, there is verse over there. Haribol. There's verse over there, and we're just going to be talking about that. But first, we're going to recite the Sanskrit. So, both sides it's there, so you can read. Prayan kale manasa chalena. Prayan kale manasa chalena. Bhaktya yukto yog balena cheva. Bhaktya yukto yog balena cheva. Bhruvor madhye pranam avesha samyak. Bhruvor madhye pranam avesha samyak. Satam param purusham upeti divyam. Satam param purusham upeti divyam. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki. One who, at the time of death, fixes his life air between the eyebrows and, by the strength of yoga, with an undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So going back to the meanings, prayana kale, at the time of death, manasa, by mind, achalena, without it being deviated. That is the most important thing. Are we all here in mindfulness? We want to be here in our mindfulness so we can absorb what Krishna is trying to tell us through Bhagavad Gita, right? So focus is the main thing. So that's the word they're saying is achalena, without it being deviated. Then bhaktya, in full devotion, yukta, engaged, yog balena, by power of mystic yoga, cha, also, eva, certainly, and then bhruvo, it's the eyebrows, madhya, between pranam, the life, pranam, not pranam. Pran, as we know, is the life air, your so avesha, establishing, samyak, completely, sa, he, tam, children, can I please request that you please sit down as well? Param, transcendental, Purusham, personality of Godhead, Upeti, achieves, Divyam, in the spiritual kingdom. So this is the, and then we go on to the verse translation again. One who, at the time of death, fixes his life air between the eyebrows and the strength of yoga, with an undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we're going to read a little purport. It's literally 2 paragraphs. And I'm going to test you what is it saying in the paragraph. So let's see how much of listening skills we've all got, right? Purport by His Divine Grace. In this verse, it is clearly stated that at the time of death, the mind must be fixed to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, For those practiced in yoga, it is recommended that they raise the life force between the eyebrows. And it mentions in the brackets Agyan Chakra. The practice of Sat Chakra Yoga involving meditation on the sixth chakra is suggested here. A pure devotee does not practice such yoga, but because he is always engaged in Krishna consciousness, at death, he can remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his grace. This is explained in verse 14. The particular use of word yog balena is significant in this verse because without the practice of yoga, whether Sat Chakra Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, one cannot come to this transcendental state of being at the time of death. One cannot suddenly remember the Supreme Lord at death. One must have practiced some yoga system, especially the system of Bhakti Yoga. Since one's mind at death is very disturbed, one should practice transcendence through yoga during one's life, right? So, question. Who was listening to me? Let's see. Shall we test you? You must be in school, right? Yes. What's your name, please, and where you come from? Yash? Yeah, you Indian, but where are you from? Oh, no, what I meant to say is where you come from, which town you come from. Sorry, it's my mistake. I should make it clear. So you come all the way from Barnet here. Brilliant. Okay, Yash. So we talked about yoga here, right? There's one yoga that they say we should do. Can you recall what yoga I mentioned in these two paragraphs? Or were you listening about your other teacher or your friends? Or let's see. Bhakti yoga. A big round of applause, please. How old are you? 11. My God, look. So he was listening. And can we say the same for ourselves? I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I'm listening and mind goes, God knows wherever else, yeah? So mind is such a thing that we need to train, we need to bring it right back, especially when we're doing chanting, goes all sorts of places. So thank you very, very much for that answer. And yeah, you got full marks. So here, what is Krishna telling us? Krishna is telling us, I mean, I'll give you a little bit of a background. This particular verse is for people who are into Ashtanga Yoga. So we call ourselves practicing devotees. There's 3-4 categories. There's some devotees who only want to study something because they want to acquire knowledge. Yeah? So there's Gyan Mishra Bhakti, there is, like proper Bhakti, and then there is like pure Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti, it's called. And there is people who are into Ashtanga or like all sorts. Like now, even in yoga, if you go hot yoga or if you go to like Ramdev's yoga and there's all sorts of other yogas, there's so many varieties of everything you can think of. Similarly, for Bhakti, there is loads and loads of varieties. Ideally, we want to do the best one, which is Shuddha Bhakti, or the pure devotional service, which we are all aiming to. I mean, there are pure devotees, obviously, like Srila Prabhupada, thanks to him that we're all sat here. Otherwise, if he hadn't left the comfort of his home and his Vrindavan, where he was all settled to fulfill his Guru Maharaj's, the promise that he'd given, none of us we'd be, we're Indian, but would be in clubs. We would be drinking somewhere, right? But it's thanks to Krishna and thanks to devotee of Krishna. So, so basically there are pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada, but we are all aspiring, because we are on a path to a destination eventually of becoming a pure devotee. So this particular verse where it's talking about how when at the time of death, can somebody tell me, everyone who's taken birth, are they going to die or not? Is that a certainty? Nobody wants to talk about it. It's uncomfortable, isn't it? We all want to be optimistic. We all say we want to live. My dad always said to me, one should be prepared for the worst and hope for the best. So let's hope that we all have a good, healthy, long life. But we have no guarantee. We have to be prepared for the worst. So should, God forbid, something happens, what are we going to do? Are we going to think, okay, I was sat here for 2 minutes, I was doing all sorts of things, but then I can't focus my mind on Krishna. Like, sorry, remind me of your name again, Yash? Yes, like Yash could straight away focus and tell. So we all need to practice. So how are we going to be practicing? So in this verse, they are basically, Lord Krishna is talking about people who are into Ashtanga Yoga and all those, that at the time of death, mind gets very disturbed. Let's hope we don't have to experience that, but we know from lessons learned from others, right? When people are dying, they say that your mind is very, very disturbed. And without going too much into details like that, what can we do to control it then? Think about it. Even if you have a little headache, if you haven't got a tablet, do you get agitated? Do you get angry at anyone asking you questions? Do you get anxious, right? That's just with headache. There's all sorts of, diseases in this world. And then there is old age. And old age, everything aches, right? And we all got to go there, because everybody who's taken birth, they have to go through jara, vyadhi, old age, disease. So what can we do to make ourselves cured by, whilst we're living in this world, yet doing ourselves favor by listening and by engaging ourselves in Krishna consciousness? Even though we will get old, even though we will be dying, but we wouldn't end up being disturbed in our mind. Who's going to tell me what are the practices that we should do with which we can then engage our mind into Krishna consciousness? Like you guys are listening to this. Is that Krishna consciousness? You're listening to Krishna's words from Bhagavad Gita? Is it Bhagavad Gita, normal Bhagavad Gita, or what's the difference in this Bhagavad Gita? What else does it say? As it is, right? This is not an ordinary Bhagavad Gita. I mean, no Bhagavad Gita is ordinary anyway, but this one even more so, because it's got Krishna's word as it is. Srila Prabhupada hasn't changed anything. You don't get exact. This version might be prevalent, but it is one of the best versions that you can have. So what do you think we need to do if we need to make our life successful, if we are in this world but we don't want to die, and if we don't want to be disturbed? What are our options? Any guesses? Who's going to tell me? I shall give you some examples later, but I need you guys to tell me. Don't worry, just say what you think. What can we do? Because this is the magic of being here. How is Krishna making it possible for us to, whilst we are alive, how do we escape death? How do we escape everything else? Okay, go on. Sorry? Yeah, of course. So, in terms of that, that's yoga, right? Yam, those are some do's, don'ts, and pranayam is practicing. Yeah. So meditation, of course, and following rules and regulations, yes, to a certain extent that answer is correct. But I was also looking for more than that. So that answer is correct. A lot of people who are doing yoga are just people follow rules not to speak. Do you think they would attain Krishna just like that? They wouldn't. Because by just following normal yoga, no one's going to escape. They've mentioned here, look, one needs to go from the bottom. So there's 6 chakras from our body, and starting from the bottom over to the head. It's Sat chakra on the top, and Mooladhara at the, and then it's very complicated. You have these chakras. What Krishna is saying is, at the time of death, you can focus on getting your life air up. But from even if I ask you to just sit in Yog Mudra, that would be austerity for us, yeah? Let alone do something so complicated like that. So when you want to attain your goal of this human life, which is, we do not want to be going into this cycle of birth, death. life, the jara, janam, mrityu, jara, vyadhi. So we don't want to be always getting born, only to then get old, only to then get diseased and then die. This human body has a special significance. It's very, very important that we make right use of this body. By using our mind and all our senses in service of Krishna, slowly, slowly we'll come to that platform. We won't become Shuddh Bhakta right then, yeah? But we will be on the right path. So if you want to go from here to, say, Scotland, if you are on the right path, eventually you will make it there, right? You've put sat-nav, it's telling you, you're following the rules and regulations, eventually you'll get your destination. So this is where Prabhuji was talking about do's and don'ts, like we have in Krishna consciousness as well. What are the things which make you pro-bhakti, which give you more bhakti? By following those, and those are the things which you avoid, which actually take you away from bhakti. So yam and niyam and all these things, rules, regulations have to be followed everywhere. Do you go to school? Do you do whatever you want? Yes? No, you can't. When your teacher comes, you have to follow a certain standard, certain behavior, right? When it's playtime only, then you can play. In class, you can't just get up and just do whatever you want, isn't it? Yeah. So similarly, here as well, Srila Prabhupada's given us some, there's 10 offenses that we mustn't commit. Because if we want to chant properly, then what is those things which would stop us from chanting properly? If you know those 10 things, then only you can chant properly. So you have to be inquisitive, but at the same time, rather than go through something so complicated, because Kali Yuga is a very complicated place anyway. It's not like in olden days, there's so many distractions for us. You have a good will, you think, okay, I want to be good, I want to do this, and again, somebody calls you, or there's games that distract you. There's so much out there that would just take your time, even if you have all the good intentions. So what we can do is, if we want to be on the path of becoming a pure devotee, here they use the word yog balena, and in there it mentioned, it's very significant, because without practice of yoga, you can't. So yoga doesn't mean, what does yoga mean? Does anybody know the definition of yoga? Yes, Prabhu. Sorry. It's okay. To link. Okay, very nice. And Prabhuji? Yeah, so union between self and higher self. Okay, yeah, both of you are right. But union of what? Linking of mind. Yes? Did you mean that? Yeah. Yes. So when we are actually linking ourselves to the Lord, that is yoga. And when we're doing the best yoga of everything else that you hear in market, where everybody else who's going to give you some sort of yoga would be with the intention of making money. If you go hot yoga, they would want your money. If somebody else is telling you, oh, this is the medication, take this or do this, what do they want to do? They want to become famous at your expense. But what you need to do, you need to be able to differentiate what is good for yourself. So you should take the yoga, which is free. Krishna has given you, what are those 16 words there? Mahamantra, right? What is Krishna? What happens when we do Mahamantra? So when we do Mahamantra, we establish our link with Krishna. Because what do we say when we say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So what are we actually doing? How are we establishing the link? Does anybody know the meaning? So we are praying, it's a very personal prayer to Krishna, and then Hare means Radharani. So we are saying, please, Lord Krishna, Radharani. We're saying, Lord Ram, yeah, Hare Hare Ram. 3 names are coming, 16 letters there. But we are saying, please engage us in your service, Lord. And slowly, slowly, by engaging, just when we chant this mantra, we meant to hear ourselves. So you are then engaging your ears in the service of Lord. you are then thinking, oh, you are here taking the darshan of Lord. So you're engaging your eyes. And I kid you not, you try this mantra and you will see the change in your own self. You will lose a lot of stuff, and that all that stuff is going to be something that you would be glad to lose. You would stop being envious to others. You would have good feelings about everything. You would feel happy from deep within. You're not going to be unhappy when you see others do well, because you find comfort, and we don't want to be insecure in ourselves, right? So we are secure. If somebody is doing well, great. Good luck to them. What do we want to do? If you make a big, big mahal here, or big, big palace, can you take that with you? Can you have Rolls Royce? Can you just say on deathbed, sorry son, I want to take my Rolls Royce with me? Can you? What is the point of earning and working and all that? Unless, of course, you then use all of that you are doing by keeping Krishna in the center. Because that's when it makes a difference. If you add Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Bhagwan Ji Ki. So we all know maths. Okay, Prabhuji. If I ask you, I think I'll ask you, what's your name, bete? In orange? Okay. So you know, if we add 0 to 0, what happens? Huh? 0, exactly. So if we put 0 behind 0, does it become anything? Nothing. But if in front of 0 we put 1, what happens? 10? Yeah, if I put 1 in front of 0, what would be that? 10? No, like if 0 is here, say, and I put 1 here, what would be that? Yes. So similarly, if we have 2 zeros and we put 1, it'll be 100. So similarly, if we carry on using our energies for something just for ourselves, it's no good, because you're putting yourself in the center. You're not going to become Krishna conscious. But if you actually use the same service by adding Krishna in your life, think of yourself as 0. Okay, we're not saying, I'm sure we all think of ourselves as heroes, and we are indeed as well. We've come this far. We've done what we needed to do in our life. We've achieved. We're always achieving something. But at the same time, don't forget, unless and until we have mercy of Krishna, when we do have mercy of Krishna, then we increase our value many folds, right? So as long as we are then doing things with Krishna in center, automatically everything would start to fall in place. Yeah? So when we start engaging, I mentioned, like just by chanting Hare Krishna, just by seeing Krishna, just by listening to Krishna, just by doing service for Krishna, like there's these people who've left their families to make their world their family by going out to make people, give them knowledge by distributing books so that people can learn what is the real yoga. It's not the one that just wants your money. It's their business. But the real yoga is all about bhakti yoga. Because what does bhakti do? Irrespective of what condition you are in, you can still be instantly happy. Because when you actually associate with someone who's happy, what happens? You automatically become happy, would you say? And why do parents always say, keep good company? Don't go out and in school, don't go in the company of drugs. I used to always worry about my children when they were growing up 20, 25 years ago. When my children were going through schooling, I always worried about it. And I always said to him, one thing you don't do is try drugs, booze, this, that, the other, right? As a mother, you always worry. And I'm sure as a father as well, because there are all these baddies who want to make money from you. They need to sell drugs, but do you need to be used as an instrument for their profit? No. Say no first time and never ever go there. Because what we have to do is associate with people who have got the right attitude. We have to associate with people who are Krishna conscious in that sense. Why? Because do Krishna conscious people want anything from you? No. They only want to give you something which you can't buy in schools. You can't buy in college. Can we, Prabhuji? We can't. That's why it's a selfless service. They don't get paid, right? They can easily go, they're all educated. They studied in, Oxford, this, that, the other, UCL, and yet they're working here for something really meager sort of money that they get just to maintain themselves, like £25 a month. Who can live with that? No one. And if they wanted to, they could be multi-billionaires and millionaires. But what are they doing? They're doing something very selfless. And we all need to think about it, that they are also, obviously, they're serving Krishna. So by establishing our relationship with Krishna, there are very many ways. We got, how many processes, Rajesh Krishna? Bhakti, 9 process. Well, he's doing, yeah. So he's having to count on his fingers. 9 processes. And there's very many processes. And Krishna is so kind. He's given us so many different ways. So if you like to talk about something, if you like to read about something, if you like to sing, you can do Kirtan of Krishna. If you like to just hear, you can listen to so many lectures. But the important thing is that you associate with Krishna. Why? Because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He doesn't want anything from you. When you associate with somebody good like Krishna, automatically the qualities that's in Krishna are going to be, you'll find slowly that they're becoming manifest in you. And as parents, we all have a duty. I think I'll read out this particular verse. This is what is expected of us. I'm doing Bhakti Vaibhav at the moment. We've got our really, exalted teachers, and they sort of, even if the scriptures, they are like quite sometimes get difficult to understand, then it becomes easier when you read together. So School of Bhakti is doing great jobs. There's so many courses. Please Google it or check on Bhaktivedanta Manor's website. You'll see very many courses starting from basics to that. And they charge you minimalistic fee, which is just to print these books and, of course, use of equipment here and there. So one of the verses in Canto 5 says, Guru na sasyat, swajano na sasyat, pita na sasyaj, janani na sasyat, devam na tatsyan, na patischa sasyan, namoche yadya samupeta mrityum. And what it says, some of the words you'll be able to understand. Guru. Guru means, right? Janani, swajana, swajana. Pitta, everyone know. Janani meaning mother, right? Deva means demigods. So here in English, what's saying? One who cannot deliver his dependence from path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, father, husband, mother, or a worshipable demigod. So look, harsh words, but it's true. Because we all have swadharma. Our dharma is, we know that we should do good for public, there's charities, there's all sorts of things, but why don't we teach them the most important thing? Srila Prabhupada went and had hippies years ago in America, right? Because the wars were rife, people were unhappy, and there's all sorts of people who say, oh, you need well-being centers and you need all of these things. But then why not give them the real knowledge like Srila Prabhupada gave? And look where his Krishna conscious movement is today, right? Why? Because he's telling you, abstain from this, follow the rules and regulations, and chant this, and read this, and eventually, by establishing a connection with your Lord, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you would slowly, it will all start becoming manifest in your head, in your body, in your soul, the actual thing that matters in life. Not just the latest car, the latest handbag, the latest all these things, the football shoes and blah, blah, blah. There's so much more that's going on, isn't it? That causes anxiety. And that happens, why? Because Krishna is saying here, I don't know whether you guys picked up on this. It says, since one's mind at death is very disturbed, one should practice transcendence through yoga during one's life, because we all know practice makes perfect. If you need to learn your times table, you need to practice learning them. If you want to become a doctor, if you want to become something, you need to sit down your 11 plus exams, or you have to sit down for your medical exams so you qualify. But Krishna is saying here, at death, he can remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his grace. So our life can be very simple. It's your choice. You can make it complicated by going through yoga system, Ashtanga yoga, chakras, pranayam, this, that, all these other things that's there in life or out there to make their money by depleting your money. Or you can increase your resources by just thinking intelligently and reading here. It's telling you Bhakti Yoga is the best. And in Bhakti Yoga, Krishna is saying to you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is saying this. So this can't be a lie, right? Who trusts Krishna? His words mean something? Yeah, we all do. And he's saying a pure devotee does not practice such yoga, but because he is always engaged in Krishna consciousness, at death, he can remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his grace. This is explained in verse 14. So Krishna, by his grace, is going to be there for us. Now, example of that, we got 15-20 minutes. I know I was very foolish when I used to, when I first came in contact with devotees, I used to say to them, why do I need to wear tulsi mala? Because they used to say, oh, the yam comes rather than dutas. When your death comes, you should try and all wear tulsi in your, but of course to wear tulsi, you can't drink, you can't eat meat, and there's some restrictions. Easy, you know. But anyway, the example that this actually happens, we can see. What do we know about Srila Prabhupada when he was actually on the deathbed? Not that we can say they were on deathbed, because they are special pure devotees of Krishna. So we call it they were leaving their body. Can somebody tell me? Besides these two, and maybe you also know. So anybody else tell me? And Mataji, I would say you don't need to talk either. Yeah? So who's going to tell me what was Srila Prabhupada doing at the time when he needed to leave a body? Was he crying out in pain? If there is a video, by the way, please Google it. You'll be able to see it, what exactly doing. He was actually reading and he was talking from Srimad Bhagavatam. He's actually talking Srimad Bhagavatam at the time of him leaving his body. When pran was, pran nikal rahe hain, और आप भागवतम की क्लास दे रहे हो. How is it possible? But it's possible because of grace of Krishna. Because he sincerely fulfilled his Guru Maharaj's wishes in spreading Krishna consciousness, in following on those teachings. So it's possible. Okay, that's like in 1973, 1977. Recently, who would have thought about COVID? COVID is like unprecedented times, right? Who would have said, look, the whole of the world, aeroplanes would stop flying? Did we ever visualize something like that? And even somebody you would have said, hang on a minute, on your bike is not possible. And look what happened. Everything shut. Absolutely everything shut. Initially, I was very happy. I was very foolish. I was thinking, oh, I can work from home. So I'll go. And then Guru Maharaj was giving classes and lectures on Zoom. So I was thinking bliss, without realizing the bigger picture, how others are so badly affected. That was my fault. But worst thing about COVID was I lost my dearest Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Ma. He is, if you want, you can always Google him. He's exalted personality, and so how he spoke, how he sang, perfect, just like Srila Prabhupada was perfection. He was also perfection personified. And what happened? Like Srila Prabhupada was giving classes at the end of his life, Guru Maharaj was affected by COVID. So what happened in COVID? Can people come around you to comfort you? This was the only time, because you think about it, in hospitals, even in nurses, even doctors, when it's somebody's last moments, they say, call the family, right? unless this was in COVID. In COVID, no one was allowed. You would phone call or on the phone. People weren't allowed to come and sit near their dearests, right? Such was the traumatizing times for families who've gone through, and we all have lost our Guru Maharaj, so we can understand a little bit of that, not little bit of Guru's, it's a different kind of pain. Because Guru and disciple relationship is like births, many a birth's relationship. It hurts like no other. It's never easier to lose anyone, but I tell you that. So what did Guru Maharaj do? Exalted personality again. What do you think he could have done? He said to doctors, what I'm wearing, Tulsi, it's not coming off. He took with him Srimad Bhagavatam that Srila Prabhupada had personally asked him to translate. He took that with him in his room because nobody else could go and be with him to comfort him or to remind him of Krishna. Look how so with grace of Krishna, he knew. And he then had Srila Prabhupada's tape running, saying, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And we all know, is it 8.5 or 8.6? Yam Yam Vapi Smarana. When at the time of death, whatever one thinks, they automatically get that. It's in 5. Let me just repeat that properly in this. So it says, I'll say the English. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajyante kalevaram. So whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. So if you're listening to Hare Krishna mantra when you're dying, what do you think? Where are you going to go? Into Golok Vrindavan or to assist Srila Prabhupada? That's second example, very recently, in 2020. Now third and another example is, who's heard of His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Swami Maharaj? Anyone? Okay, again, you got to Google these personalities, then you will see, right? His name is quite difficult, Kadamba Kanana Swami Maharaj. But he had cancer. And which year was it, Rajesh? It was in 2022? I think only a year ago. This is his first year anniversary, so 2023. He came here the last time, and we've seen very many cancer patients. And cancer is no joke, because people who go through it, they'll tell you chemotherapy, medication, pain, all of that you can imagine. And that Maharaj was actually not taking any. He knew he was given last few months to live, but he was chanting, and his Guru Maharaj even offered him to say, like, you don't need to do chanting because it's painful for them, right? And he said to his Guru Maharaj, please don't take that away from me. That is something that I want to do. Without medication, he left here to go to Vrindavan, where he was surrounded by a lot of devotees, and he left his body, or he left this world by remembering Krishna while he watched Aarti being done, and then he left. So this is not something that is just 5,000 years ago or in ancient books, it says there. Once we apply these things sincerely, if we are sincere in our endeavors to Krishna, we're not trying to impress any Tom, Dick and Harry, excuse my language, but we are just trying to impress Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if we do that by taking on any service at home, say if you have picture of Krishna, start on your relationship by just offering him little water. You can offer him little flower. If you go to buy fruits for yourself, just don't think, oh, I love to eat cherries, but think, okay, let me take some cherries for Krishna. Very simple changes you need to do to keep Krishna in center. And one day we will realize, because we will just be surrendered to Krishna by doing whatever we can in our busy life. We do have work, we do have mortgages, we do need to pay our bills, right? I am not saying to you, forget doing everything and you don't now need to do anything, become Hare Krishnas and don't worry about anything. It doesn't work like that. You do your karma, you do your dharma, raise children if you need to raise children, maintain your families if you need to do that. But at the same time, the most important person, who is you, also needs to know, where am I going? Am I on the right path? I need to do something for my benefit. And keep yourself on the right path to Krishna consciousness by following various things that we've talked about. There's 9 processes that you can actually carry on practicing this bhakti yoga. Forget about all the other yogas. You can always do to keep yourself healthy. Of course, you should do whatever you think appropriate. You all got good brains. I'm not going to tell you just follow this or follow that. Even if you don't follow anything else, but please follow. My appeal to you is bhakti yoga. So if you're not chanting, please take, it only costs £1 or 250 or something like that. There's tulsi beads here. And that would help you in your school life, in your uni life, in your family life, because you'll be practicing meditation. Because it's important, especially in today's world when everything is, they say prana alpa ayushya. Like everybody in Kali Yuga has got very small life. And then in Kali Yuga, people are naturally into fighting, into quarrelsome moods all the time. So you need peace, you need happiness, you need security. You don't want to be insecure of what others have achieved while you haven't, or your son hasn't done this, or my son has done this, or her daughter's become A-levels and topped and this, that, the other. None of this would bother you, because you know that we're going to be surrendered, we're putting our effort in, and we are hoping and praying every single day that with our sincerity, we can please the most important person on the altar is Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda. And what can he do? What is difficult for him? If he wants to give you something, if he wants to make you billionaire today, can he do that? He'll find a reason and it'll just happen. If he wants you to get his good qualities, would it be difficult? No, because he's got all opulences. He's got Bhagwan. He's the one who possesses all power, all beauty, all renunciation, all knowledge, all wealth. Yeah, one more. All famous or strength. So that is the kind of person we want to impress, right? We need to be very clued up about our time in this world, no matter what we want to do. Like I said, be prepared for the worst and hope for the best. Let's hope we got long life, but let's start today, because who knows what happens tomorrow. And I can tell you a personal example. I am in touch with some of the people that we regularly meet and discuss Krishna, and one of the really young girls that I know, 1 minute they're all okay, 1 minute they're diagnosed with something. And it's like the whole, nothing matters anymore. Think about it. If you were told something today, what would matter? So what you want is people around you who are also helping you, reminding you of Krishna, because that's one thing that we need to make sure. Because why do we need to know that? Who's heard about this analogy about cat and rat? Has everybody seen how cat picks up rat? Yes, in the teeth? Who's watched Tom and Jerry? Yeah, I thought so. We all have. We all know what happens, yeah? There is no tender moment. But when the same cat has to pick up its own kitten, what happens? She picks, the same teeth are there. The kitten doesn't bleed. She picks up very gently, right? Same as death. Death has to come to everyone. God forbid any of us. I hope we all have good life, good health, lots of wealth, lots of happiness, and lots of bhakti, right? But the reality is eventually we will have to. But the person who is not in Krishna consciousness is going to be like the rat and cat. And the person who is going to be in Krishna consciousness is always going to be treated, even by death, as a kitten. So when we are surrendered in Sharan of Krishna, then we are automatically going to be taken care of by His grace. And these are the words which is what's saying. So let's not worry too much about doing complicated things. Keep our life simple. Bhakti yoga it is, guys. And that should hopefully see us through. Now we got 5 more minutes. So I will say Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. And if you've got any question or comments, then this is your time to let me know. Or if you don't agree with something, here I am. Ask me why. Any comments, any questions? It's a lot to take in, right? Yes? Did you, I'm sure, I'm so sorry if I've taken so much of your time, but do you understand why there is this importance in us knowing what we should be doing in our life? Yes? There's lots of choices out there. Follow the one that is good for you and your family. Because it's nice to be on and around devotees, because you don't have to worry about a lot of other stuff. If you're going to be, the man is known by the company he keeps, and then whichever company you keep, automatically you would have to then be subjected to those things. So let's not worry too much about it. If you haven't got any questions, let's just do the one thing Krishna is telling us to do. Shall we? And you know why we do this? When you guys say football match, you go, yeah. When we all devotees do this, we do it because we say, Krishna, I'm like a child. Like children do that as parents come. I've got a really cute grandson. His name is Janitai. And when we come, he just goes like this. He wants his mom to pick him up. He's only 8 or 9 months. So let's just do this. We are Krishna's children. Let's all hope for his mercy and his grace. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you so much for your kind attention. And if I've said anything to offend anyone, please accept my apologies in advance. Hare Krishna. Hare. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we will need 2 kind people to put this back in the corner there for us, please. Thank you. And Aarti is going to be happening now, so you can have night version and then start.
Hare Krishna.
तो અહીંયા ઊભી થોડી વાર પહેલા
Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki. Kiba Jaya Jaya Gaurachande Aratika Shobha. Janavitatavane Jagamanaloba Dakini Tai Chan Bamigadadara. Sing along, everyone. Nikate Advaita Srini Vasa Chatradara Bosi Ache Gorachan Ratna Simhasani Arati Koremba Ama Adideva